Here we are going to deal with the applications of Gauss law. Infinite plane sheet of charged conductor is going to be considered in this case. Here this is a infinite plane sheet which is a metallic conductor. This plane sheet is kept in vacuum or free space. In this plane sheet we are going to consider the charge distribution. Positive charges are distributed over the surface of the plane sheet, which is having a surface charge density sigma, and we are going to consider a point P which is at a distance r from the plane sheet. At this point P, I am going to determine the electric field strength. What is the electric field strength at this particular point P is our goal. Okay, now by applying Gauss law, the very first rule to apply the Gauss law is we have to consider a symmetry, Gaussian surface which is having a symmetry. What kind of symmetry we have to choose? It depends upon the charge distribution. Here I am going to consider the symmetry in the form of a cylinder. So this is a cylindrical surface, and this cylindrical surface is going to be considered on either side of the sheet. So symmetry must be followed on either side of the plane sheet. So from this side we are having the length as r. On the other side we are also going to consider the same length r. So the total length of the cylinder is 2r, and the area of cross section of this cylinder is considered as A. This is the area of cross section of the cylinder, and this in this ends flat surface I am going to consider the elemental area dA, and this area vector is represented away, acting outwards. So this represents dA vector. This dA vector is acting perpendicular to the area considered. Okay, and we know that as the charges are positive, the electric field also acting away along the same direction. So this is the field lines direction which is shown. Okay, on either side of this charge sheet I am going to consider the electric field lines, which should be away from the charge sheet. And this is your Gaussian surface, which is a closed imaginary surface. Here on the curved surface I am going to consider a very small area, infinitesimal area on the curved surface, and the area vector for this is considered perpendicular to that area. And as the point P, I am going to consider another point P dash on left side also, and here in this infinitesimal area I am going to draw a vector, area vector, which is perpendicular, and the electric field is acting away. This is the area vector direction, and this represents the electric field direction which is acting away. This is the electric field direction. Okay, and these two are perpendicular to each other, therefore the angle between them is 90 degree, since they are perpendicular to each other. The flux equation involves the scalar product, that is phi is equal to E vector dot A vector, therefore that results in cos theta, therefore no flux will be emanating from the curved surface. So totally on the curved surface of the cylinder or on the curved surface of the Gaussian surface, we are not going to have any flux which is coming out of the curved surface like this on any direction. We cannot have the flux on the curved surface. The flux will be only emanating on the flat surfaces, two ends on the flat surfaces, outward direction. Okay, this is a very important condition by applying Gauss law. And here we know the angle between dA and E vector is 0 degree because they are on the same direction. Therefore, cos theta becomes maximum value. Therefore, the flux will be maximum on the n caps. On either side of the n caps, we will have a maximum flux. Okay. This surface charge density given to the sheet can be calculated by charges per unit area. So that is represented as sigma. So what is the total charge given for 1 unit? That is called as charge per unit area. Because of infinite charge sheet, we cannot calculate for infinity. So I am going to consider charge per unit area. That is sigma is equal to Q by A. And Q will be equal to sigma A. Okay, hereafter Q has the value sigma A. Sigma is the surface charge density, A is the area of the cross section. I already told you. Here the electric flux linked with the cylindrical surface. So when you consider the cylindrical surface, you have to consider throughout the cylinder, both the end caps and as well as the curved surface also. So the equation involves three terms of integration. That is, the first term of the integration is curved surface, and the next term is P integration and P dash integration. So we are having three terms. Okay, and as I told you already, the first integral term, which represents the curved surface integration, will be cancelled because there won't be any flux crossing through the curved surface. So no flux lines will be emanating along the curved surface. So therefore the total flux will be 0. So only the remaining two integration parts will be accounted. Therefore the total electric flux will be the sum of the two integral parts, and that will be equal to the net charge enclosed by the permittivity of that medium. So the inside the Gaussian surface, we are going to consider air or vacuum. No other medium is represented. We have considered only the free space. Okay. And now this integration, if we consider the symmetrical point P and P dash, the field strength will be constant. Therefore E can be taken away from the integration. So 2E integral dA. On integrating dA, we get A. So the final equation will be 2EA, that is equal to sigma A by epsilon naught. 2EA is equal to sigma A by epsilon. For instead of Q, I can put sigma A. Okay. So the integration of dA will be equal to A. The total area of surface either at P or P dash will be A. I already told you this is the cross section of the cylinder, and therefore here also the area of cross section will be A, and other side also the area of cross section will be A because of symmetry. Okay. Therefore we can cancel A on both sides and bring the 2 to the denominator. The final term, what is our aim, what is our goal? We are going to calculate the electric field intensity or electric field strength or simply electric field at the point P, which is at a distance R. Therefore the final equation will be E equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So this is very important. Here it doesn't depends on the radius, the distance, or R is not involved in the final equation, which means that for the infinite charge sheet, at each and every point the electric field strength will be independent of the distance of the point which we considered. The only thing is that if the charge sheet has the surface charge density which is greater than 0, that is if sigma is positive, and we know that the electric field is going to be acting away from the charge sheet, and if sigma is less than 0, what is that? The value less than 0 is negative. Therefore if sigma is less than 0, then definitely they will be acting towards the sheet or they will be acting inverse the sheet. So this is one of the important concept of applications of Gauss law. So if sigma is greater than 0, the electric field is acting outward, and if sigma is less than 0, the electric field is acting inward. Okay. Okay. So with this, we have calculated the electric field intensity by applying Gauss law, which is a very efficient method, very easiest method, rather than applying Coulomb's law. This is one of the important and specification of Gauss law. Thank you.